Good afternoon, this is Michael O'Neill from the Informed Medical Options Party. I'm coming today here in beautiful New South Wales with Darrell McDowell. Darrell McDowell is an author. This is his book here, The Guru's Bodyguard. I'm going to read off the back of the book: cowboy, soldier, father, bouncer, lover, seeker, salesman, fighter, rebel, bodyguard, skeptic and traveller. Darrell is a Vietnam veteran, also is the Sergeant of Arms of the Vietnam Veterans motorbike gang, and he is a true Dinky Di Australia, freedom-loving and a brave soldier, a great representation of Australia. Today, Darrell and I, we've been discussing the issues of how Australia's going, and today Darrell would like to share part of his story. Darrell, we've talked about many things over the last couple of days, but part of your catalyst, you had a friend, didn't you, that had an unfortunate incident due to being compelled into having a vaccine. Am I got that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So you want to tell us a little bit about that, Darrell?
Yeah, well, John Murphy was my oldest friend, one of my best friends in life. His nickname was Spike. I mean, we rode together on cattle stations, and he joined the army. I got called up for the army, and before I was sent to Vietnam, I said, well, why am I going to Vietnam? And they said, well, you're going there to fight for our freedom. Our freedom's against communism. I thought, well, fair enough. Now, what I find today, first let me tell you what happened to Spike. So Spike was getting treatment for some cancer he had, and he rang me one day. He said, Darrell, I'm going to get the injection. I want to see my son. He's a jockey. I want to see him ride, and I can't go to New South Wales. I can't go anywhere unless I get the injection. I said, now listen, Spike, you don't get that injection because when you've got cancer, they give you tablets or a needle to stop you getting a blood clot. If you get that injection, you can get a blood clot. He said, I don't believe in all that. My doctor said it's fine. So he got the injection. The following week, they rushed him to the Brisbane hospital. He had an open heart operation to get the blood clots off his heart, and they stitched him up. Within a week afterwards, he was unconscious in a coma. Anyway, he died. And they said, well, he's died from pneumonia and cancer. He didn't die from pneumonia and cancer, he died from the injection. So this withholding information, and not just him, I know a woman in Kensey, she's had open heart surgery, blood clots, the same thing. What I don't like what's going on is the lies, the withholding of information, the bribery, $1 million if you get the injection, and you can go to the pub and you can fly overseas and you can do all that, and if they don't get the injection, they can't go anywhere. We'll lock them down.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's hostile to the very thing that that you went to Vietnam for, Darrell. I mean, in your day, we extol the virtues of bravery, courage, mateship, but now we extol the virtues of fear, cowardness and dobbing. And how did Australia turn to come like this?
It's just crazy, it's misuse of government because, look, what I wonder, Michael, and what I would like to know as an Australian, a lot of my friends say the same thing, how much are the pharmaceutical companies like CSL, how much are they paying the Australian governments, all the governments, how much are they paying them to do what they want them to do with this vaccine, which is experimental. It's just been passed in America legally, which is ridiculous. And how much are the families of these politicians, how much investment have they got in these companies, and how much money are they making? Because these companies are not making millions or billions of dollars, they're making trillions of dollars. So how much is their thinking of the forced vaccinations being affected by all this money?
Yeah. It's absolutely abhorrent. The conflicts of interest just the oppression is purely communism. It's you fought the Viet Cong in Vietnam. You saw many of your mates. You told me you had some very good friends die in Vietnam. Is that correct, Darrell?
That's correct.
And to fight communism, yet we have now the communist principles being enacted in our country. Unbelievable. What do you see the way forward, Darrell? I mean, how do you see this? What solution do you see?
You see, when you go to war, the first thing you experience is fear.
Yeah.
That fear turns to anger, and that anger can turn to hatred.
Yes.
Now, this is what I'm seeing in Australia. They're making the vaccinated fear the unvaccinated. Yet in Israel, 95% have been vaccinated, yet they're still in hospital, they're still dying.
That's right. That's true.
It's a fact. And so to make one group of people fear another group, they tell them, if you're not vaccinated, you can make me sick. Well, how does that make logical sense? If you've had the vaccinations, you're supposed to be immune. Yet people are still going into hospital that have had the double vaccinations everywhere.
That's right. We've got it here in Kempsey. We've got people that have been double jabbed and are in hospital with COVID. I know a couple, they're actually currently out of hospital now, but they were in there after their double jab with the COVID. It defies logic, and in any normal world, the media would be screaming from the rooftops that there's something very, very wrong if this is anything else. But on this one, they are complicit in a cover-up that we've never seen inside a democratic country. In a liberal democracy, what we're seeing today is nothing but a shameful conduct. The media is leading the charge, the politicians are complicit. So on a political level, we need to see these people go. You agree with that, Darrell? We need a bit of we need a broom through the whole place.
The only way out of this is now, when this election comes up, you vote for the small parties. Don't vote for these big parties, because they're all in bed together. We need to clean up governments. And, look, I'm not making up stories. 10,000 people through Shine Lawyers have now put in injury claims from the vaccine. Now, that's just with Shine Law alone. And I know one of my friends, he got the Pfizer vaccine. He's in bed for a week, he can't work, he's got a sore throat, he's sick as a dog. So I know for a fact, on the ground, visiting people, how sick they're getting from this vaccine. And fine, look, you have freedom of choice. You want to get the vaccine, that's your business. But the government must allow these figures to come out, and then you have your freedom of choice. And you watch, next year, because it'll become political, they'll take away all this. Oh, you can't go there, you can't go to the hotel, you can't travel, you can't do this. That'll all fall apart, because this is all based on bad evidence and lies and bribery and blackmail. It's just wrong.
Well, Darrell, you've been a fighter for many years. You've been a fighter from when you're young. Darrell's the quintessential Australian. He's a brave man, and I've got to know Darrell over the years, and it's wonderful. I feel the words that you've said to say are words of wisdom. Do you got anything in closing to say?
Look, it's just a pleasure to know you, Michael, and that you're out there and you're fighting for Australians. You're running for the Senate in New South Wales, and I would ask as many New South Welshmen as possible to vote for Michael, because when he gets in the government, he'll try to put a stop to all this government payouts and all the stuff they're doing, and just bring the government back to the people. And I thank you for that.
Thank you, Darrell. I would like to urge you, in 3 weeks, Darrell's book, The Guru's Bodyguard, will be released. You can get it on Amazon. That's Darrell McDowell, a true freedom-loving Australian. And I've read the book. I read it in its draft content, and I was thrilled. I couldn't put it down. And so, Darrell, thank you very much, mate. Thanks for everything, for your friendship. Thanks for all you do for Australia, and have done. And God bless you, brother.
And thank you for being so brave, Michael.